You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Monday, 18th day of June, 2018. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you had a chance to spend some quality time with the family. Saw you in church yesterday. Always good to see you. But I'm glad you're here today. Thanks for joining us. If you're returning, welcome back. If you're here for the very first time, a special welcome to you. I have a chart up of the S&P 500 Emini Futures. If you can't see the chart, go to our homepage at cfrn.net. On the right-hand side, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. 30 seconds and you'll be registered all the way through the end of the month. You only have to register once per month. When you do it at the first of the month, you get 30 seconds. You get 30 days for 30 seconds. 30 seconds, 30 days. Either way you look at it, it's a good deal. We dual stream at youtube.com/CFRN/live. If you go there and bookmark that page, you'll always have one-click access to the show. So there you go. We're very glad to have you with us today. Michael is back, so he'll be here in momentarily to give us a recap of everything that happened in the live training room this morning. Now, there was an announcement last week. We didn't have a chance to really get into it, but the SEC made an announcement last week at Yahoo Finance's All Market Summit in San Francisco. At the summit, the U.S. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, lovingly known as the SEC, said the commission would not be classifying Bitcoin or Ether as securities. Now, it's the first time a major U.S. regulatory organization has officially stated that Ether isn't a security. The statement is in line with what SEC Chair Jay Clayton recently said about Bitcoin. In a televised interview, Clayton explained that payment-focused digital tokens like Bitcoin are not securities, but other digital tokens, like the tokens sold in some ICOs, are securities. Most of us expected Bitcoin to not be labeled as a security. However, the fact that Ether is also not a security, not classified as a security, is, I don't know, to use a four-letter word, I guess, huge. Yeah. Ether was always in a gray area. Ether isn't designed exclusively as a payment mechanism. Instead, Ether provides access to the Ethereum platform, including the centralized apps on the Ethereum network. It's different from a payment-focused cryptocurrency. The SEC will not change cryptocurrency and digital asset rules. They'll just start applying them. In addition to the news, the exciting news that Ether is not a security in the eyes of the SEC, they did mention they will not change any cryptocurrency or digital asset rules, but they will begin applying those rules. That means cryptocurrencies will continue to be treated as property. They're not quite a security and they're not quite a currency. Instead, they're an asset that you own and hold, and the value of that asset can go up or down over time. The SEC has apparently decided that cryptocurrencies like Ether and Bitcoin behave and are treated like commodities similar to gold and oil. The Commodities and Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC, meanwhile, has long urged the SEC to clarify its position on Ether. The CFTC and other regulatory authorities within and outside the U.S. will undoubtedly welcome the news with open arms. In any case, it's all good news for the crypto industry. If the SEC had announced that Ether and Bitcoin were securities, then the markets would have been flooded with users trying to sell. It might have marked the end of Bitcoin as we know it. Fortunately, that's not the case. Now we have official confirmation from the SEC that Bitcoin and Ether are not securities. We'll see if the markets surge on the news or if they continue as they have. Now, this comes as an amazing surprise considering the fact that last month, May 7th, there was a huge online craze and search for the rumored meeting the SEC was having put out by the Wall Street Journal, in which created a ton of buzz and curiosity in the crypto community, only to be let down and find out it was just a little, informal gathering. Now we have an official ruling regarding the Ethereum Ether token, and it is very positive and should have an amazing impact within the markets and on all of the ERC20 coins and projects built on top of the Ethereum blockchain. We saw a little bit of a bump from 480 to 505 on Ether. What will be the long-term effect? We'll see. I'm much more a fan of a slow, steady climb with the occasional, if not required, pullbacks along the way than just a parabolic move to the upside. Also, in other news this morning, we have Zappo receiving a virtual currency license from the New York Department of Financial Services. The company Xapo, XAPO, provides wallet, cold storage, and Bitcoin-based debit card services estimated to hold around $10 billion worth of BTC. With the Xapo approval, DFS has in total approved 8 firms for virtual currency charters or license. The regulator says it has conducted a comprehensive review of Xapo's application, including the company's anti-money laundering, anti-fraud, capitalization, consumer protection, and cybersecurity policies. According to the license, Xapo will be authorized to offer a digital wallet and a vault service and be subject to ongoing supervision by the New York Department of Financial Services. Xapo President Ted Rogers said, "We are very pleased with the approval of Xapo's BitLicense application. It is the end result of much hard work, not just by Xapo personnel, but also by the DFS and its staff." If anyone really expected that the Chinese government could keep its hordes of cryptomaniac citizens out of the market, they're due for a rude awakening. According to reports from the giant Asian economy, at least 2,000 new crypto foundations have been set up by Chinese people in offshore jurisdictions, many of these to facilitate the trade of new ICO tokens. The main hubs for this activity are said to be in places offering quick and easy registration, such as Singapore, the Cayman Islands, and Malta. The size of each such foundation is estimated to range from tens of millions to tens of billions of Chinese yuan. And according to media reports from the state of Georgia, a group of would-be Bitcoin thieves that previously they've been indicted. Okay, it was already in the news, but now they've been indicted by the Superior Court of Forsyth County on charges of conspiracy to commit burglary and robbery. The 5 young men, Justin Ellison, Trippett Adams, Matthew Schwartz, Jacob South, and Michael McDermott, conspired to break into a local home and steal nearly $1 million in Bitcoin. They were formally charged, and conspiracy to commit burglary and conspiracy to commit robbery by force. And last, in Istanbul, the main marketplace, 550 years old. That's how long people have been going to this Istanbul market day in and day out to trade their goods and or services. Well, they hung a sign up today that says the Grand Bazaar, as it's called, now accepts Bitcoin. Old school goes high tech. Okay, numbers around the world. Let's start in the U.S. Let's start with the cash markets. The Dow currently down 146 points. NASDAQ down 11. S&P 500 down 9. And the Russell 2000, green, but not even a point. In the commodity basket, crude oil, which we rolled forward to the Q contract, crude oil is trading 65.20 last. That's a gain of about 14 cents. Again, these are cash markets. Gold up $2.40, trading 12.80.90 last. In the Asian markets today, the Nikkei down 171 points at the close. That's 0.75%. Shanghai down by 21 points. Same thing, 0.75%. And the Hang Seng lost 130 points, down almost 0.5%. And the red continues all throughout Europe, with the FTSE down just 2.5. The DAX, on the other hand, lost 176 points, That's 1.25%. And the CAC lost 51 points, which is almost 1%. So the only green on the screen for the indices would be, around the world, the Russell, which is positive by 0.40 or 0.02%. Everything else is in the red except crude and gold. So there you have it. Those are the numbers around the world. We'll get into the futures here in just a bit. We had a number of tweets last night that went, well, they went well. They went well. We'll go into those in some detail. We also had some Concierge Trade Alerts, of course, and I think those probably went well as well. So let's get into those here when I come back. And for now, let's go to Michael. If he's ready.
Yes, let's go to Michael.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay.
We had a flat day today.
Did you?
We did. We were break even on the day. That has never happened in I don't know how long.
Really?
It's been years.
Wow.
We had 6 break-even trades today. That's all we had. We missed 3 good ones in crude, but and 1 good one on the ES, and then we had 6 break-even trades. But I'll still go through everything and show everybody everything.
When should we have rolled that crude?
I think Friday.
Friday? Okay,
Yeah.
because the trade alerts that went out last night, not to mention weekly trading zones, those are all based upon the old contract.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you know, the email that you send out for the zones, you got to go through and take a look at the text that's on top of each of the color things, because those, that's behind. I mean, you could just take off the symbol if you wanted to and just put that it's crude oil or whatever. So you don't
I
have to
see what
change
you're
it.
saying. I didn't change the thing up at the top. I got you. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Just a thought.
Yeah, no. That needs to be done. I just something I'm so used to changing all the other stuff. I don't usually even glance at that, but yeah, good point.
Yeah.
All right. Well said.
Okay.
All right. I'll hit mute. It's all yours.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, the 18th day of June, 2018. Today, what time is it? 12:19. Yeah. Okay. So it's the 18th day of June, 2018. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the homepage here at CFRN.net, and right up here at the very top, it says sign up for the CFRN Live Training Room, 100% free trial. User indicators, learn our strategy. Click here. When you click there, you'll be brought to this page. And on this wonderful page, all that we ask for is your email, your first name, how you found us. Then click on the submit button. When you do that, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link, okay? If you don't click on a confirmation link, then you do not get a free trial, because that's how we know that you took the trial, okay? Okay. Spreadsheet, okay. As I said, I don't even have a color for today, because we're break even all day, so I just thought I'd make it white. Okay. We had 0 today, and 6 trade opportunities. Sorry, 6 trade opportunities. So on the month now, I've only had 9 days because I ended up missing 3 days last week. Last week was a nightmare for me. I think it's just you, Daniel. Call GoToWebinar, and they should be able to help you out. Okay, or log me in. Give me a second, I'll give you the number on that. Okay, it's up here. Notes. It is 800-263-6317. Okay, 800-263-6317. Yeah, Daniel, there must be something, a cookie getting blocked or something like that. That makes you have to do that again and again. All right, I know I had issues on Friday. The problem with me on Friday, you know, when I was trying to log in, I actually switched hotels because I like the internet better at the hotel that I usually stay at. And so I switched from the hotel that I was in. I was actually booked in 2 hotels for one night. And I went to the other one and I couldn't get logged in. And I got there early and I logged in ahead of time, but my audio wasn't working. So I logged off and tried to log back on. And in that time, it blocked GoToWebinar and I couldn't get logged in. And then I couldn't get a hold of anybody to come and back me up because I was on the phone with GoToWebinar for an hour and it was just a nightmare. Last week, the whole thing was a mess, but I did get custody of my son. Anyway, okay. So, as I was saying, today is the 9th day of the month for me, and we're up $1,017.50, averaging $113 per day. And on the year, we're at 17,917. That's over 109 days, averaging 164 per day. 164 per day. Okay. Again, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. All right, let's see what happened. I was telling people in the room that after the European markets closed, we might see some action, but we didn't see any on gold. Right now, when the markets opened up here, it was just really choppy and choppy. And then we had a long trade right here that we missed, and a short trade right here we had to break even on. It did not give any follow through, and there was nothing since. Okay, nothing since. The euro, we did get one break-even trade on the euro. It started out right here, and you see this nasty, choppy stuff. We just didn't get any trade setups in there. Then it finally gave a big leg up. It pulled back. I was hoping it was going to give another big leg up, and it stopped us out at break-even. After we closed up above the MA1 right here, the next shot at getting out of break-even is what we had to do. Since then, it was garbage until the break, and then it pulled back, and it didn't give any trade setups. So that was that. Let's see. Okay, here we are on crude. We started out with a break even right here. I was expecting to get up to the high of the day and end up to dynamic resistance, but it didn't have any follow through. Now, these are the trades that we missed that would have gotten us our goal for the day. There was a down close right here off the BBC. I missed that one. Another one right there that I missed, and another one right here that I missed. Changed directions, and I had a break even right here, and another break even right there. Okay, then it was just a mess for a while. The end of the room, we were looking for a possible down, possible momentum short right here. It did give the momentum short. If you got into it, it only went one tick into profit. You should have gotten out of break even right away. During the break, yep, this was a valid trade during the break. Well, let me see. Were we really trending? No, we weren't really trending. Switch directions. I wouldn't have done anything there or there. Once it got down here, I might have shorted this bounce off the BBC right here. That probably would have been a break even, maybe a couple of ticks. And then it just went really flat and sideways. Okay, the ES had a couple of opportunities today. Started out right here. Right at the beginning, there was a shorting opportunity here that I missed. Then right here, we got a break even off the BBC. And right here, there was a bounce off the BBC. Now, these ones that I missed, because Mondays are just crazy. We have so many things extra that we have to do on Mondays. And we have to deal with, any emails that we missed over the weekend. And so I ended up missing some of these. But there was a bounce off the BBC right here. That almost made it up to the zone, but it did go 2 full points, which would have given the goal for the day. So I wouldn't have done anything in here. The next opportunity was here, and I missed it, but it looks like it probably would have been a break even for me because I would have moved my stop to break even once we had this much in the trade, and would have come back down and taken me out and break even. It went up to the next zone up above. Let me highlight that. Okay. Then it dropped down. This right here was a shorting opportunity, but it was during the break. I would have totally been expecting it to get down to the zone, which it didn't do until right now. Okay. So there was one opportunity here during the break. Okay. Okay. And that was our morning. So let's go back over the spreadsheet. As I said, our total result for the day is 0. We took 6 trade opportunities to get there. And on the month now, we're at 1,017.50. That's over 9 days, averaging 113. On the year now, we're at 17,917. That's over 109 days, averaging 164. Okay. Again, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you can read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. If you have not taken a free trial with us in the last 6 months and you want to, up here at the top, it says sign up for the CFRN live training room, 100% free trials, user indicator, learn our strategy, click here. When you do, you'll be brought to this page. On this page, all we ask for is your email, your first name, and how you found us. Click on the submit button. If you hit that submit button, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click the confirmation link, we don't know you took the trial. Okay? Okay. And with that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, Studio A overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park.
Yeah, hang on for me just 1 second, please.
Okay. All right.
John did not get his invitation today.
I took care of all the emails, I think.
Okay. Yeah, really sad to hear the email from Joyce. I'm just reading that.
Yeah.
One of our partners lost their spouse, passed. So please keep Joyce in your prayers, and her whole family. Very difficult time. Something hard to imagine, but something I assume that we'll all face at some point in our life. So, if we have a spouse. All right, let me grab the screens. I sent John the invite.
Okay.
So did you hear the part about the SEC and Ether?
I did not.
They officially ruled that it's not a security. So
Excellent.
there was a lot of concern that possibly they were going to, people were pretty confident that Bitcoin wasn't going to be labeled a security, but that Ethereum might. But anyway, they passed down their final ruling. I think it came out on Thursday or Friday. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, but that's their official word, that Ethereum is not a security. Their official word was, what is the statement? I thought I had it, the exact statement the way they put it out. Yeah. The announcement, which was made last week at Yahoo Finance's All Markets Summit. I guess the statement is simply that the Commission, the SEC, this was from the Director of Corporate Finance, William Heinemann, said the Commission would not be classifying Bitcoin or Ether as securities. Most people expected Bitcoin to not be labeled as a security. However, the fact that Ether is also not classified as a security is huge. And so there was much merriment, I suppose, over the weekend. The Commodities and Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC, has long urged the SEC to clarify its position on Ether, and now it has done so. All right.
That's good news.
Yeah, it is. I'm still trying to filter it down and sift through it, and I somehow feel like there's yet another the rest of the story or another shoe or something, but I don't know. Maybe that's it. I don't know. So you're all back, all settled in?
I am all back and pretty much settled in. Yeah, I still haven't finished building my desk. I mean, it's a desk, so I can put stuff on it. But all my drawers are over there in pieces on the floor, so I haven't finished putting that together yet. But I do have Jake.
Wake up.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike Reed, welcome to the show.
Hi, Dwayne.
Good to have you with us, man. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It has been.
Well, yeah. It's been a few weeks. I know it's been long, but yeah, I'm here. How you guys doing? Didn't mean to interrupt
good,
you there.
man. Doing good.
I didn't want to interrupt. I don't know.
No, you're not interrupting at all. Michael, did you answer Daniel's question there?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Mike, your invitation comes every day in the email, right?
No, I still don't. I still don't get it like I used to. I saved one you sent me a while back, so I got in today.
Okay. Now, is today the first time you logged in this month?
Let me see. I might.
I don't know.
Yeah, using this link, it has been.
I'm assuming that now it will start sending you. I don't know.
I didn't.
I have no idea, buddy.
Okay.
'Cause you're still on the list, same email address as always. I can only guess that your email might be sticking it in a different folder. So.
I look. It wasn't there, but I mean, especially every day. Plus, I have you in my address book, so it should let you through. But anyways,
So tell us what's been going on in your life and what's your take on the markets, all that good stuff.
Boy, lots going on. I guess the best news is my niece. I'm gonna be a grandpa again, so
Oh yeah.
I'll be. Yeah, I don't know about 4 months, 5 months, something like that. That plus I'm gonna move again, Dwayne. I'll move.
You're moving, okay.
And that I'm not sure exactly when. So got a process to go through.
So what's prompting the move, if I may ask? If it's personal.
Well, a giant house, over 5,000 square feet. I don't need, with no longer having 6 kids here. So.
Oh, okay. So you're downsizing. I got you.
Very much so. Yeah.
You're downsizing. Michael's upsizing, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I moved last week. Actually, a week ago Friday, I think, is when we started it.
Oh, okay.
We sold our building and bought a house. And I got custody of my son last week. So,
okay. Well, good. I don't know what was going on, but that sounds good.
Yeah.
Good boy.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Yeah.
I just dropped him off at the lake. He's fishing.
All right. That's a good thing to learn too.
Yeah. He's been spending a ton of time online learning how to lake fish because he knew how to pond fish, but he didn't know how to lake fish. And and it's different because there's more current in the lake and
current,
and depth, and everything else.
Yeah, depth, temperature.
Yep.
What you gonna use for bait?
Yeah. He caught one the other day. Look, I don't have the charts right now. I'd show you a picture. But
bass. He's fishing with bass.
He caught a striper the other day.
Oh, okay.
And it was probably 4 pounds.
Probably. Oh wow.
It was a good sized one.
Yeah.
And he'd only been fishing for like, I don't know, 10 minutes when he caught it. And
how old?
Jake, he's 14.
14, okay.
14, yeah. See, look, I'll take the charts back for just a sec, Dwayne. I'll show a picture.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, 4 pounders, pretty good size. Especially,
Here. There he is, holding his largemouth bass.
That's nice, yeah.
He was pretty happy with himself.
Yeah. That's his, you said that was a striper?
Yeah,
Big
striped
striper.
bass.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
'cause
when
I
does your
put
move take place, Mike?
and I'm not exactly sure.
Are you going to be offline for a while? That's
It's
where I was
gonna,
headed.
well, yeah, I didn't even think of that. I probably will be for a while. Now that you mentioned that. Now I don't plan on being offline for very long. We just switched. Internet. Which can I ask you what your upload download? I got 150. I don't know if I got fast enough or not, but it seems to be pretty fast.
Yeah, you could ask. In fact, I'll demonstrate. Because I know what I pay for, but you don't always get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Despite that old saying.
Well, yeah, I
You
did.
get what you pay for. Well, no, I paid for stuff I never got. So.
Yeah, I'm not getting 150. I know that.
Go. Here we go. Alright, 7 millisecond ping. That's a good start. Alright, looks like I'm going to come up just a little shy of... Well, no, actually, I think I'm... What am I paying for? 150 or 200? I forget now. But as long as I get 150 at least. Okay, so 215 down. And see, that's not good. I'm supposed to have guaranteed 20 up, and not quite getting it.
Well, isn't download more important than upload?
Well, for download, you're pulling data in, like for your charts and stuff.
Right.
But for me,
So
upload is important because I'm pushing out, a radio station. So.
Okay.
So the upload speed
okay.
is, but still, I mean, that's sufficient. 17. Yeah, but if you pay for 20, you kind of like to get 20. So.
All right. The reason I ask is GoToWebinar. You don't have any problems with it ever hanging up on you. Apparently, it was hanging up on me, and I thought it said that I may have a slow internet connection, and I thought, well, if only getting I can't remember what it was. It was not a very good number, but so the best package that they had was 150, and it's of course not reaching that while the charts are running. I did a speed test while market's open here. Didn't come anywhere close to what you have with GoToWebinar going. So I don't know. Maybe their tech support is odd there. I don't know how it gets
pop up
one
earlier that said high CPU usage detected. I can't imagine why. I don't have that much stuff running, and I got more than enough horsepower under the hood. So
yeah, well,
figure it out. So what do you think about these markets, man? What's your take? For those who don't know, it's been so long since he's been on the show. This is Mike Reed from TradeStalker.com. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, sorry. It's my take on the market. Well, I think that we probably had some sort of a top made last week, and the sentiment. It was basically sentiment, and internals like if you do an advanced decline line, you get like, and it was making new all-time highs. They're talking about. I know this is not important to day trades, but as far as the bigger picture look, but the up on the days it was positive, plus 159 or maybe plus 200 net advancing issues. So barely creeping higher there, and then you get hit with a day like last. I can't remember Friday where we had reversal day, down and up again. Still was at less than 1,000 event. Anyways, under the hood, it doesn't look so good. Internals doesn't look so good, and even though prices have been holding up, so we're creeping higher, but I don't think that high. Also, last week they went over 2790, and then come Wednesday or Thursday, I can't remember which day it was.
Thursday was 14th.
was that, yeah, they couldn't get over there and stay for longer than like a minute or two. They got over in the morning and then they came down. In the afternoon, they poked up there like twice. So they couldn't stay over 90. And that was pretty much a red flag with the VIX way down low. That Friday went down to 1190.
Yeah, this is a daily chart, and so Friday we failed to put in a higher high. Looks like the high back on March 13th.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, but it kept pulling away from 2790 there, and eventually gave away, which was expected. I didn't expect and a completely reversal back up on Friday, but they did it. But we're kind of still, there you go. You got a big sideways movement to go. And I think we got that downside that, where we're down this morning on the gap down open in the low 60, 64 area to take out, to get a breakdown of any sort back into the middle of that range. It's that top area over on the right, Dwayne. And if you just look at that last, right there on your right-hand side of your chart.
What, right here?
Yeah, see those little lows, both today's low and the prior low. Mm-hmm. Oh, you have your lines drawn across there.
Yeah, those are just some Fibonacci lines.
Oh, well, the ones right on my would be my breakdown area. Yeah.
Well, that's
64 area.
62% reverse fib from the high put in back on January 30th.
I got you. That's a support now. Anyhow.
Well, see, we've popped above it. See, we went from the high to the low over the course of just a couple days. I mean, that high was put in, it looks like January 29th.
Parabolic.
The low put in February 6th. And we've been trading inside of that the whole time. So we breached the 62, and then we breached it again. And this time we breached it with a lower high.
Mm-hmm.
So
see that pullback low previously off the high, off of the bounce high there, just a little bit to your right.
Right here?
Yeah, they came down and then dropped down a little bit. They went sideways there. Nope, not that far. Before the breakdown. Just about 2 days, right there. Now you go sideways across there, it's about the same spot where, right in there. So that area in there to me, we break down under there, then market's back into some trouble again. At least back into another range. It'll go out of this top side of the range and back to the middle range. So there you go.
There's a little channel. So we're back to the top. Bottom to the top, to the bottom. Didn't quite make the top.
Might want to hang on to that one.
Back to the top. All right.
So I don't know. I'm looking at it in that 64 to be the kind of if you want to see a trigger for a breakdown that pattern, they were to close down there, it would be bearish. So anyhow.
Hey Michael, are you still with us?
Yep, I am.
Yeah. Can you chat for just a second? I need to step away for just a minute.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
You don't get that.
Okay. Yeah, okay. We'll keep going, Mike. I'm watching. I can't move the mouse around or anything like that. But...
Oh, okay. Oh, I was just telling him that I think we need to take out that 64 area on the yeah. If you go across the chart, I think he has a daily there. If you move today's low and then the low about 1, 2, 3, about 8 days ago, 6 or 8 days ago.
Yeah, I see.
2, yeah, those two lows. I think that's 64. The other low. I think it's close to it anyway.
I see what you're talking about right in there. Sitting right on top of the red line there.
Yeah, and then prior to that, before just you see a flat line. That's where they broke out above that. So to take that out, didn't they? So just below that, they take it out to the downside, I think.
Yeah, 2,800 seems to be a rough number lately, though,
Yeah.
doesn't it? It got up above it in January.
Not long. It was straight up. That was parabolic.
Up and down.
Yeah.
especially the down.
The down. Well, yeah, that was due after that straight up run. But
Yeah.
that's kind of what happens when those. Like it was a bubble there. I don't know if you've seen that run. That straight up vertical run was almost exactly like 1987, where it was going just straight up, and then, but they didn't end up the same way.
No, it came back.
And I'm back.
You know, okay. We were just talking about the bubble a little while ago, back in January.
Yeah. Parabolic run up into that move. I mean, they were straight up, barely had a pullback. Yeah.
Sure good to hear from everybody. Anything else you want to chat about or cover?
Oh, let me see. No, I just want to know how long you're going to stay in that heat box out there.
Yeah.
What are your plans? Ecuador? It's even
I'm
hotter?
gonna stay put for now.
On the
Kids in school
Okay.
and all that. So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
looks
a good
like I'll be
thing.
here. So,
All right, live from Phoenix.
all right, brother.
Overlooking the.
Well, listen, don't be such a stranger. Now that you got the link, you
Okay.
got to get back in. You know, pop
Yep.
in on a daily basis so we can,
All right.
stay on the
So
same
hang-
page. All right.
Hang on to this link then till the end
To
of
the
the
end of the
month.
month, and then
Yep, the end of the month.
I'll personally send you a new one.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Okay. Hope we don't lose it.
All right, man. Say
All
hi
right.
to the family.
We'll do. You the same, Michael. You take
All right.
care. Okay, bud.
All right, you too. You too.
All right. All right. See you guys.
See
Thank
you.
you.
Okay. Did John pop in yet? I emailed him the link.
Not yet. Not yet. Nope.
Let me see if he emailed me back. I did send it. Pretty sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, he should be here pretty quick. On the Concierge Trade Alerts last night, we said to consider selling 2777 on the S&P 500. That's the chart I have up right now. This first initial drop was good for 9 points. That's what the market made available. We never get out of the swing high or the swing low because we trail a stop, and when you trail a stop, you'll almost always leave a little something on the table. Price came down and hit the zone from last week, 2761/62. These are now the partners got the new zones this morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, as they do each and every Monday morning, and then I release that to the community at large on the show here, usually on Thursday. So, important prices, important areas are almost always tested, and so price raced back up just to kind of get its head up above 2777, and then it dropped for 6.5 points. Now, I didn't tally this simply because there's a really good chance that if you're trailing your stop, that on this pullback you'd get taken out. If you are trailing your stop at a distance or differently, then we did make it all the way down to 61, and so 61 to 17, that would be 16 S&P points. But again, chances are either this pullback took you out, and then if you're in this one, I guess by all means you should probably still be in it if you're trailing a stop, if that's how you're doing it. Okay, and then we had I think we had several tweets. Well, here, let me bring it up on this screen. Okay. Wow, why is that thing repeating itself like that? Something very broken.
I do not know.
Something very, very broken. Whoa. I gotta figure out how to fix that.
Okay, John just popped in.
Oh, did
By
he?
the way.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, that's. I don't remember seeing that last night either. I'm trying to. Yeah, something's got all fumbled up. Let's see. S&P. Well, when I first tallied it up last night, the ES on the, that was on the trade alerts. But I know I put out some tweets. Tweet. Couple. In fact, because I came back and did this one again, because it already ran its target. The first one. Down. Last tweet ran to the target. Oh. Consider selling 72 to 69. Okay. So 72 to 69. That worked out. They all worked out. We'll go through them later, I guess, and sort them out. And then this one came back and worked out today, which was 65, or no, 70 down to 65, I think it was. Or was it 65? Was it the other way? 65 to 60. Okay, that's what it was. 65 to 60. Yep, and there it was right there. So, okay. Well, I guess we can open John's mic.
Okay, I'll open it up.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. There it goes. All right, open.
Hi, John. Welcome to the show.
Hello there. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yourself?
Not too bad. How am I coming through on this?
You sound fine. Yeah.
Good.
You sound good.
Finally, kind of got this thing sorted out over the weekend. I was almost going to call you to test it, but I guess.
Did you just back away from the mic a little bit? It sounded like.
No. How's that? Is that all right?
It's a little lower than normal, I guess.
Okay. Well,
Maybe it's just like it just kind of seems like you're not speaking as loud as you normally speak. I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Is that possible? I mean, I can hear you. So.
Yeah. So, it was a great weekend. I don't know whether you saw the Mexico game yesterday, but it was pretty incredible.
No, I didn't see it. What happened?
Well, they beat Germany, and nobody in the world thought that was going to happen. The Germany are the world champions, 2014, and I don't think they've ever beaten Germany before. But just to give you a little bit of history, I mean, I follow soccer very closely, and I've made some pretty incredible calls in the past, and I'm going to make some today, just for the benefit. But the Mexican team, the under 21s, I think they won the world championship in 2012, and they also won. It was either 2011 or 2012, and they also won the Olympics. So theoretically, they were the best team in the world at the time. Well, 6 years later, those guys are now the A team, if you like. They're in some of those players are probably playing on in the number one, in the major side. So the prospects for Mexico are pretty bright in this World Cup. And it's very interesting because the three kind of favorites, if you like, Brazil, Brazil, four of them, Brazil, Argentina, Germany, and I forget who else it was, but none of them won. They're all they either lost or drew their first game, which is I don't think it's ever happened before, where the sort of the main contenders are getting potentially taken out in the first round. I mean, if Germany Germany's when Mexico got this pick, they were calling it the pick of death, the death because of the the people they have to play. They have to play Sweden, South Korea, and Germany. Sweden and Germany are two of the best teams in the world. So, the chances of actually getting through the next round and beating them was pretty steep. So if Sweden beats Germany and maybe they just, maybe they win against North Korea or South Korea or something, they might scrape through to the next round. But if they get eliminated in this first round, that will change. That will turn this whole cup upside down. And the same thing could happen to Brazil and maybe even Argentina. So it's a very exciting World Cup from that standpoint. And there's been some incredible goals scored already. Portugal and Spain, two of the other contenders, they only drew with each other, so they only have 1 point. So all of these teams are in jeopardy potentially if they can't come back and win in the next few days and the next few games. So it's pretty riveting. It's pretty exciting, and it's really exciting because it a lot of sort of come from behind teams have a real chance to win. And I actually said this a few weeks ago. There was a tournament in France, a world tournament, and I just happened to predict to some friends that I thought it would be an England-Mexico final, and that's actually what happened. And Mexico almost won it, but Britain beat them in the last minute, and they've won the last 3 years in a row. But I think there's a reasonable shot that a similar final could happen in this World Cup. Obviously, there's a lot of things that could change, but these are two pretty strong teams. And I can tell you, Mexico probably played the best game in history yesterday. They played a sensational game. They were on the attack the whole time. And, if they hadn't screwed up a few shots at the goal, they might have won 3 or 4-0 because they really had some incredible shots at goal, but they messed up as they tend to do a lot. But the going to the market, there's this market is not. It's sort of it's ended up stalling here in the middle of the month, which probably because of the tariffs and a few other things. And problems with China. Last night the reason why the market sold off is because mostly the Asian markets were selling off, and China is looking pretty dangerous actually, and that's one of the sort of curveballs that the market could get hit with unexpectedly, because I think if China starts tanking, that could drag these markets down with them. If they avert that, then and China sort of rebounds from here, that will be that'll probably help a lot. But one of the things that I've noticed in the last week or so that's been going on is that the breadth has been deteriorating quite markedly. In other words, we've been making higher highs on declining breadth, which is usually the beginning of the end of a bull market. And it's really characteristically different from anything we've seen apart from the sell-off in January, February, and March. It's very different from what happened last year. So it's much more selective now, and one of the problems today is the semiconductors. I mean, it's kind of confusing because you've got AMD screaming higher. I think we called that one at around 10 not so long ago on the show. It's at 70, just hit 17 this morning, and it looks like it's going to go much higher, which we talked about some time ago. AMD tends to go dramatically higher towards the end of a cycle, and it seems to be doing just that right now. Twitter is another one that's been acting really well. Facebook made a new all-time high today. Google is heading for all-time highs. Amazon and the others, the FANGs are acting really, really well actually right now. So the fact that the Nasdaq was down, 50 points, 50 or 60 points. Wasn't really that big of a deal. We're only down about 18 right now. We're sort of clawing our way back. It's not a given yet, but I'd say there's a reasonable chance that we're going to have a late rally today. We're starting to rally now. We're starting to cut the losses in the Dow, where we're down about 190 or so at the worst. Only down about 150 now, and it's starting to pick up. The mid cap went to a new, the Russell went to a new all-time high this morning, so that's pretty bullish. And the mid cap is very close to making all-time highs. So all in all, and the bonds are starting to go down again, which is giving the market the impetus it needs to keep this rally going. So I think that this stall that's happened here in the middle of the month is actually possibly a prelude to a late month rally finish. This is shaping up as a very strong month as it is, and if we can start getting back towards the highs of the month, the market's going to look very strong. So that's where we are at the moment. Obviously, it's very difficult when you get these 200 point Dow declines overnight, to go in and buy these lows in the morning, because you never know when is this the one that's gonna, that's not gonna bounce, or that's gonna turn out to be a real rout. But I don't think the market is ready for that just yet. And we may be a month or two away from that happening. if we can, if they work out these tariffs, or come to an agreement without, it seems to me, I know China made a kind of a token to buy around $70 billion worth of goods from the US, which was certainly a start. But they could easily, if they imagine it, they need planes like yesterday. There's so many, they need so many planes in China. There's no way. You can't even, if you order a plane today, you're lucky if it gets delivered in 10 years. So they could easily order, 100 planes, 200 planes, and that would almost, solve the deficit overnight, and probably cause an eruption higher in the market. So something like that could happen, and it might even happen with Europe as well, and it could kind of just push this tariff thing off the table completely, and it would be a pretty big win for Trump. Unfortunately, it's a pity that Trump kind of went a bit over the top after this Korean trip, because I think he doesn't, every time it looks like his numbers are going to go to new highs, you either have this business with the border, or sort of loose, saying too many things about Kim Jong-un instead of being a bit quiet and cool about it. I think would have been smarter. Tends to sort of be it tends to affect negatively, and of course it gives the press more meat to chew on. But
I was listening to I think it was Saturday night, Water's World, which I don't know, I tend to kind of like that guy, but it's like it was like somebody made him a bet in this next segment. How many times can you say Little Rocket Man? Does he not think that Kim and his people are watching these shows?
Yeah, it doesn't help.
That's ridiculous. We're trying to put together a deal with this guy, and so now, and because it looks like he might want to, play along and do a deal, we're gonna go on our national TV, on the quote unquote news, and make fun of him.
Yeah, it's crazy, and unfortunately the press is out of control in this country, the way they're carrying on. I actually was listening. I was going through some old stuff, deleting it over the weekend. A couple of shows, from a few weeks ago, and the Democrats. I mean, it's hard to believe this, but they were yelling and screaming at Trump when he pulled out of the deal. Remember?
Yeah.
And now they're yelling and screaming at him for making the deal with him. I mean, you can't win. It's crazy, but. The thing that's kind of starting to look like it's going to blow up big is this whole Russian thing, because it's things that I have, and it's obvious that this goes all the way to the top. Was probably masterminded from the White House in the beginning, and there's this another thing that came up over the weekend, which apparently this is one of the reasons why Mueller's been after Stone. He was probably kind of trying to trap him or something. But apparently, Stone met with some sort of undercover agent. It looks like it could have been a sting, instigated by either the CIA or the FBI, to try and sell Trump information on Russia. And Stone rejected it, and he didn't even think of it, and it kind of didn't make any big deal about it. But it's just, I mean, listen, I don't know whether there's any legalities in that, because Hillary paid, whether they paid $5 million or $12 million for this dossier, and half of that was Russian stuff. So, I don't know whether that's illegal or not, but that's, if they were trying to, there's no question that these agents, this guy from Malta, this Mifsud guy, was an MI6 or an MI5 affiliated. He was the guy who, he's the one who told Papadopoulos that the Russians had dirt on Hillary. So where did they get that from? That came from the FBI. This whole thing was a setup from day one. It's just unbelievable. And the tentacles are reaching up towards the top now, as I've been saying all along. And then you've got this rottenness. I mean, I can't believe that Ray hasn't gotten rid of all these people already. It's unbelievable, and because look, they're just covering up all the time, and then these new text comes out about stopping Trump from being president, things like that. I mean, it's just an absolute outrage, and it's obvious that there's a whole lot more that they're covering up there inside, and a whole can of worms. And it makes you feel. You sort of ask yourself, how can the FBI conduct themselves in an ethical manner, doing normal investigations when there's skullduggery and misdeeds going on by the management? There's no confidence in the organization anymore. How can people who get interviewed by the editor, listen, sort yourself out, sort your own problems out, and then come back and interview me when you fixed your organization and cleaned up your act. Because I mean, there's a litany of, there's probably thousands or tens of thousands of people in jail today who probably shouldn't be there anyway, because they were tainted evidence, or they were caught in a lie or something. All this kind of thing. I mean, it's unbelievable that these grown men just can, scheme and come up with ways to kind of trap you, to put you behind bars. It's sickening. It's a terrible reflection on life.
Yeah, it is. Who's running this country? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Who's in charge? I don't know. It's not the America we grew up in. It's changed. And I would say that there's hope on the horizon. I don't know, unless somebody does something. And who is that somebody? I mean, this fellow that went to jail, Manafort. Mm-hmm. How much is that going to come back to haunt Trump and the whole thing?
To haunt who?
Trump, the Republican Party. I mean,
I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal. But look, that's one of the things that I'm a little bit bothered about, because Trump. Listen, I don't think Trump be president today if it wasn't for Manafort. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Manafort came in at the right time. He was critical to the campaign. He got Trump, to be the nominee. If he hadn't been there, I don't think it would have happened. And to not acknowledge that and to sort of dismiss it is I think, is a little bit, it's just not right. I believe in giving credit where credit is due, and it's forever. You can't change stuff. It kind of makes. They say he was with us for 45 days when he was with us for 4 months or 4.5 months. I mean, he was critical to the campaign. He was a shrewd operator, and he was the one. He needed to get the votes to get Trump the nominee, and there was nobody else who could do it. He had the political, fortitude and experience to pull it off. And then when he was replaced, the new team came in. I mean, in the end, it was quite an interesting strategy, because he had 3 different, campaign leaders that each brought importance to the table, and ultimately resulted in him winning. So, but I think putting this guy in jail is an absolute outrage. And it's just this job is to try and soften him up and this sort of thing. It's an absolute disgrace. The whole thing, it's just sickening. I tell you, this Mueller thing is the worst thing that's ever happened to it's the worst. I mean, it's one of the worst things that ever happened to America. I mean, you can rank it up there with 9/11 and Pearl Harbor and Mueller. I mean, I'd put them in the same category, because the whole thing is contrived. It's a whole stitch job, and it's just as you say, who's running the country? I mean, this is a deep state job through and through.
Now, all this deep state business and the secret government and the shadow government and all this other stuff, I mean, has that always been how America was run?
No, I think it's all probably happened since 9/11, when all these intelligence agencies who are very powerful grew out of nowhere. And I find it nauseating look, initially they said 17 intelligence agents said the Russians hacked Hillary's email, and then it was down to 4, but all the press still say it's 17. I mean, so nobody ever corrects them. And there was an article a week ago saying there's no evidence the Russians hacked Hillary's email. Plain and simple, nobody can prove it, and it's highly likely it didn't happen. Kim.com and a few others, WikiLeaks, they know where it came from, and they say it didn't come from the Russians, and they said it was an inside job. It was downloaded onto a memory stick. And that's probably what happened. And all this stuff about the Russians and things, it's just, it's terrible. It's because it's damaged relations with Russia. And it's all a big lie. And this whole thing is going to be exposed before too long, because, if there was collusion, it would have come out a long time ago. Obviously, there's no collusion. And it's complete, the whole thing is, look, it was all started by the FBI in the first place. I mean, you read this stuff, it's all out there about Mifsud and these informants who were out there to literally spy on the Trump campaign, or create trails and things. It's all there. And you have to listen to the people like Joe DeGeneva to get the full scoop on the reality of this. And these guys are federal prosecutors. I mean, these guys are honest brokers.
Yeah. Did you hear? I don't think we talked about this last week. I just brought it up today on the show. The SEC ruling, they came out officially last week and declared that neither Bitcoin or Ethereum is a security.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So that still feels like there's something else to come, like there's more to the story, another shoe to drop, but that's just where they left it. They left it at, not a security. So we'll see how things move forward from here. Let's see. Bruce had shared earlier when you were talking about the game. Did you see the Iceland-Argentina tie? What a game, considering Iceland has only 330,000 people in the country.
Yeah, Iceland. Well, Mexico beat Iceland big time. I think they beat them 2 or 3-0, 2-0 or 3-0 recently. They're a good team, but if they were able to tie with Argentina, that tells you that this whole World Cup could get turned upside down. So, but they. 1/10 of the population were in attendance at the match.
Wow, that's amazing.
Iceland, yeah.
Now, Bruce made another interesting comment. How can we continue as a country when the government is trying to tell us who to vote for? And he went on to say the FBI is trying to make Trump lose, the Justice Department not giving information to Congress, etc. It's kind of like, who is the government these days? Who's running the store? Who's in charge? I understand.
Well, you need to get an attorney general who's going to sort out all this nonsense. I mean, look, this guy Rosenstein, he's so up to his neck in it now that his days look like they're numbered, and that's always something you got to be keeping in mind about this market, because if he did suddenly get fired, it could cause a sudden sell-off of monumental proportions in this market. So something to keep in mind. And he could change the attorney general as well, which could cause a equally big sell-off. So
yeah. So this downturn we're in, temporary?
I think so. Yeah, it seems to be getting better, and the fact that we're positive on or just about positive on the mid cap and the Russell, not everything else. Look, before this market tops out, the Dow has to be the last man standing. The Dow has to be the strongest index, and right now it's the weakest index. So that alone has to kind of keep you bullish,
Yeah, last night our Concierge Trade Alert on the Dow was to sell 250.50, and that first drop 90 points. The entire drop's 211, and then after the trade alerts, we also had a tweet out, which was it was good for 40 points from 990 down to 950. That's a nice day's work. So on Gobex last night, we actually had some movement, and things went pretty well, across most of the markets. 5 points down the Russell, and the NQ. What do you see with the NQ? The NQ, we were looking to sell 72.67. Right here. So that's yeah, can't complain with that. And it happened relatively early on, so a lot of people were able to get their day done early. 72.67. So 72.67. And then that drop took us down to. Yeah, this initial drop took us down to 72.25. So that's about $800 per contract available.
Mm-hmm.
And then it rolled sideways and then spiked down a little bit lower. But anybody trading a tight stop, probably got taken out of this little pullback. here. So.
So we're really the close today is, if we were to close around here, that wouldn't be too bad. I mean, it looks to me like the market's poised for another leg up here now. Although the European market's acting really bad today. So,
yeah, the Europe. Let's see, the DAX got hit pretty hard. It was down.
down 200, down 207.
Okay, I show 176, but yours may be more.
Yeah. So there is this risk of the euro getting dragged down by the rest of the world, including China.
Lost 51 by the close, and the FTSE was only down 2.5 points. So
yeah,
everything was red when I went through the numbers. All the cash markets around the world, Asia red, Europe red, US red, except for the Russell. The Russell was positive by less than half a point. So, and then of course, and we rolled to Q in crude. I'm guessing you've already done that. And gold.
Crude is acting pretty good today. It got down to 63 this morning or overnight, and it's rebounded pretty stoutly, and so have the products. So, as I say, we're probably going to get a rally into the July 4th holiday now.
Yeah, that's right around the corner. Anything else you want to cover? Talk about?
No, listen, thanks for the invite, Dwayne, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Much obliged.
All right, John. Have a great day.
Thanks. You too. Bye.
All right, let me take care of John's mic. His mic is on mute. Now, on this second drop, important prices, important areas, almost always tested. So the S&P did come back, did get just above the trigger, and on the second move, it gave up 6.5 points, and now it looks like it wants to reset itself one more time. And that initial tweet on the S&P, which came out after the trade alerts, was to consider selling 72 down to 69, and that worked out as well. So all in all, it was a good night for the trade alerts and for the tweets, the ones that were triggered. Now, the Dow never did come back. So 250.50, first drop was 90 points. Then there was a pullback, and you know, depending upon how closely you're trailing, you might have stayed in it. If you didn't, that's okay. It still had a very nice trade, and then it dropped down to the zone below from last week, and 211 points total. It seems to be turning around. The Russell already made a nice run to the upside. We were looking to sell 1684 last night per the email, and caught a 5-point drop, 250 per contract, and then we ran up to 1696.50, and one of those, yep, 1696 was the trigger. So if you bought 1696 on a stop, well, you know what happened. If you were utilizing some of the things we talked about last week, some of the discretionary type methods that you might use in this instance, perhaps you weren't triggered in, perhaps you were, but stops are a part of trading. It's going to happen. So stop trying to avoid them and better figure out how to deal with them. Now this trade alert on the NQ, important prices, important areas. This time, though, it only dropped. Now, again, here, it was a 40-point drop. I didn't calculate this one because if you're trailing pretty closely, you're going to get taken out in that pullback, but still leaves you with a very, very nice trade. And so from 67 down to 55, call it 10 points. From 67 down to 55. It's a low. It's 6.5 to be exact. Yeah. No. The low. So that low, we're going to round that up to 56. So that's actually 11. So it's a little better than $200 per contract available. Yep. And then crude, confusing issue on crude. Confusing? Why? Well, we should have rolled crude on Friday. I did not. And so the trade alerts that I issued were actually written for the old contract. So I don't know what sort of volume that contract is still carrying today, if any. Let's see. Insert. Volume. Yeah. In the last 28 minutes, there's been 6,000 contracts traded in the old contract. So if you were trading that, you were just fine. No problem at all. I may update those numbers tonight. Well, the trade alert goes out tonight will definitely be for the Q contract, not the N. As far as redoing the weekly trading zones, I think they're gonna remain as published. David, what's that guy's name? Which guy? Which guy? Guy I was just talking to? Oh, the guy that's on the show every day? Yeah, that's Sean. Yeah, he's been back with me now for about a year. John Richards. He doesn't have a website. And so you won't find anything online. He works with he and I've been friends for a very long time. Well, 20 years. I guess it's about now. And he has some private clients, but as far as, and you can follow him on the Twitter at Market Savant. So, what haven't we covered? Okay, so the crude. Guess we're going to talk about, I need to go back one last time for, alright, so crude. Last night, when we were still on the July contract, said to consider buying 64.60, which is right about there. 64.60. And well, this first little run up took us to 65.49. And this took us up to 65.82. 65.60 would have been $1,000 per contract available. So we went a little bit above that. But again, we never get out, swing high or swing low because we trail a stop. $1,000 plus per contract available. Okay. And on the sell side, consider selling 64.05. 64.05. That's going to be thereabouts. So from 64.05 down to the low, 63.60. So 45. So that's $450 per contract available. Okay, and that's if you got out at the exact swing low, which I'm gonna guess you didn't. Okay, because you're trailing a stop, you leave a little bit on the table. Okay, and then gold just sideways. We wanted to buy 1284, which did us no good because the high was 84.90, and so you're either, I don't know, I don't think you're still in it. You could be, actually you could, it depends, but probably not. And on the short side for gold, we're looking at 1277. So at least there was no pain caused by that one. And bonds marched right down to the trigger, did an about face, marched right down to the tick and did an about face. So I have to wait and see what happens there. And then the last one, soybeans, pretty quiet. Soybeans, we were looking to be long at 918, did not happen. Potentially being short at 899, which did happen, and we put in a low 97.25. So that was 1 3/4 points. So soybeans. July beans. Should be rolling beans. Or did, I think Bert talked about that on Friday. Alright. David said the crude. Yes, yes, that's correct. The sell triggered first, and then the buy. So you had a chance to short 64.05, and then you had an opportunity to go long 64.60. Is that what you're referring to, David? Is that correct, David? I want to make sure I addressed your comment properly. And I'm spelling this out for you. There, I just sent you. No, I was just saying, you had mentioned that the short side of the crude triggered first. It did on the way down, but then also we triggered on the long side. So it's very possible when we have two-sided action like this, you can take advantage of the short and you can take advantage of the long. Just another one of the really nice things about futures, one of the things that I like is that you can switch horses pretty quick. Okay, all right, so okay, you got that. And I gave you that spelling there. So you good on that? Okay. All right. Well, that covers. Now, I decided what we're going to do on this monthly here, because we did it on the continuous chart, this big picture trade on gold, okay? Because the current contract Q and the continuous contract have different prices. Like we're at 1280.90 on the continuous. Okay, they finally synced up. It usually takes a while. So what we'll do is on the continuous, once we hit 1310 on the way back up, that'll be considered the official trigger, but you'll have to exercise that on the Q contract. You can't trade the continuous, okay? The purpose of the continuous is so that you can do some, long range. See, this goes all the way back to January. Each candle here represents 1 month. We're all the way back into 2011, 2012. And the S&P trying to make up its mind here. Okay. All right, our good word for the day, setting the right example. Now, this is not just for parents. This is for anyone, because everyone has a sphere of influence. There's people in your life, believe it or not, that look to you for guidance, direction, as an example, and you say, what, who, me? Yeah, even you, even me. 2 Chronicles 26:4 says, he did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, just as his father Amaziah had done. There's a cartoon, and the punchline reads, no matter what we teach our children, they insist on behaving just like us. Think about that for a minute. No matter what we teach our children, they insist on acting like us. Now, it's funny, it was a cartoon, but it's a serious matter. An expert offered his opinion and said, we teach what we know, but we reproduce what we are. Your children may sometimes doubt what you say, but they will always believe what you do. Which is why I say that even people who aren't a preacher, the greatest sermon you'll ever preach is the life you live. Because that's the true story. Your children and anyone else that looks up to you, that you have influence over, they may doubt what you say, but they will always believe what you do, how you live your life. The greatest sermon you'll ever preach. If you want your children or anyone that you influence to have a quiet time with God, then you should have one too. And they should be aware of it, and they should know that it's important to you. If you want your children to be in church, take them, don't send them. If you don't want your children using foul language, watch what comes out of your mouth. And if you don't want your children to smoke, drink, or do drugs, then you should probably leave them alone as well. When you say one thing but do another, your children may still love you, but eventually they will lose respect for you. And what's worse, they'll think, if the principles you preach don't work for you, why should I try them? Your example will have more impact than all your exhortations. You can talk till you're blue in the face. It's not what you say, but it's what you do that will have the greatest impact, and what they will ultimately follow, model in their own life, and eventually teach their children. Two important scriptures here. The first from the Old Testament. He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, just as his father Amaziah had done. Second is in the New Testament, 2 Timothy 1:5. I am reminded of your sincere faith, which first lived in your grandmother Lois and in your mother Eunice, and I am persuaded now lives in you also. Thousands of years separate those two scriptures from the Old Testament to the New Testament. But the truth they teach us is absolutely timeless. So set the right example. My mother used to jokingly say, don't do what I do what I say. Or don't do what I say, do what I do. Anyway, in other words, she was aware that sometimes she would send a mixed signal, that she would say, don't do this or that, but in fact, she was guilty of it herself, and so, jokingly she would laugh, but she was serious, do what I say, not what I do. Or no. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. See? That's my point. All right. Well, it's good to have Michael back. It's good to see you all. It is a Monday, so we'll all go deal with Monday in our own Monday-ish kind of way. If you have any questions, shoot them to support@cfrn.net. Give us a call, 949-423-6464. That's 949-42 Emini. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.